Welcome to the Decoders, where we demystify and decode some of today's biggest ideas. The show is presented by Aviso AI, the end-to-end revenue platform used by go-to-market teams at New Relic, DataStax, and Armis. Today's episode features Liron Kaneti, SVP for Armis. Armis is one of the fastest growing security companies of our time. Liron is one of the most respected and knowledgeable executives in customer experience and technical account management. He's a customer advocate and a security champion. Liron, welcome to the show.
Hi, Kevin. Very nice to meet you, and I'm happy to be here.
Well, Liron, tell us a little bit about what you're focused in on at Armis and how you even got into the security software business.
So I started my security journey about 20 years ago. I've done some Army background experience where things which are better left unsaid were being performed. And after about 18 years there, I moved into the commercial domain. I've run from a previous startup called Armis, where I ran technical activities end-to-end in North America. And now for the past 2 years and 5 months, roughly, I'm in Armis. In Armis, I started by leading the technical account managers. And that was our behind-the-scenes technical resource that used to help all of our customers to be successful in leveraging the Armis platform. And today I run customer experience, our end-to-end holistic approach towards our top-tier customers, our Fortune 200 and other large accounts, which are crucial to Armis success. I've been doing security for roughly 20 years from now, doing IoT, doing automotive cybersecurity, doing IT, manufacturing, security of medical devices, and so on, both from defensive and offensive perspective. So I've seen quite a lot on this domain.
You have quite the amount of experience. Now, of course, I have to ask, right? Can you share some valuable lessons you might have gotten from your time serving in the Israeli Defense Forces?
Expect the unexpected. I think this is a crucial part in all cybersecurity activities. In the end, you need to prepare. And unlike other engineering efforts, this is always a game of back and forth. It's always an escalating war between both the defenders and the offenders. And this is, I think, expecting the unexpected is the number one goal here and why we are in this domain and what makes it so interesting.
Preparation meets opportunity. And when you prepare and when that opportunity arises, you're able to take advantage, it sounds like. Tell us a little bit about your experience at Armis and ways that Armis is, elevating customer experience, thinking about even customer interactions, and how they tie that all together to drive success.
Perfect. No, it's a great question, Kevin. So Armis, the way we're approaching our customers, Armis is a visibility platform. Basically, we believe that in order to be able to defend your environment, what you need is first visibility into your environment. What's going on there, what works, what doesn't work. Weird devices on the systems might be, and other systems might be completely innocent in day one, but might be a huge security risk going forward. So this is our approach for Armis across all of our customer journey, is that we're trying to make sure that the customer gains 100% visibility across all of his environment. That's where the customer success team comes in, the technical account managers, our customer engagement managers. All of them are helping the customer leverage the platform to its fullest into the entire deployment and other customer journeys, trying to make sure that he gets that visibility across all of their sites, across all of their environment, IoT, manufacturing, medical, and classic IT. This is where my team comes in and makes sure that the customer sees this end-to-end value.
Liron, how do you even drive and foster a level of collaboration among the TAMs and some of the other departments within your organization? And really within Armis's organization as a whole, just given the important role that they play?
The key word here is transparency, honestly, Kevin. In the end, what we need to make sure is that everyone shares the same information, the same perception as our technical account managers and as our customer engagement managers see, and sharing that almost like they were part of the discussion with the customer, even though, as we know, our product team, our R&D team can't be in every call, but they are crucial for customer success. And that's why we are looking at that from transparency perspective to make sure that everyone has all the information readily available to make the actionable, both customer-focused and technical decisions to make the customer successful. So transparency is key at the end. That's how it works. Visibility both in the inventory as well as in our day-to-day.
I can imagine as a distributed team, that importance of being able to capture some of those key conversations moving it over to team members, either to like watch again, listen again, or even get insights if they weren't able to join is pretty significant. What specific insights and analytics are you capturing and that the technical account teams are using to identify trends in their communications with customers?
So we have quite a few things that we use. For example, if a TAM is on a call and if he encounters a technical challenge with the customer demonstrates something and we need to understand what exactly is going on, a specific bug or a specific feature which is not working as expected. This is one of the areas was actually the Aviso platform helped us a lot. We're able to see that part in the conversation, see what the customer shared, see what was the exact discussion, and then move that to our support team, to our product team to review that. The interesting use case for us was it wasn't just unlike a Zoom session or something like that where we are always the owners of the call. In a lot of our use cases, we're joining the customer platform. The customer is the host either on Zoom, Teams, whatever that is. And this is why in the past, we didn't have visibility or an easy way to just record, reference that interaction. You have the rest of the teams involved, much like they were sitting on the same call. Now, since we started using Aviso for that conversation intelligence, for example, we're actually able to take the exact part and push that to our support team and our product team on their day-to-day in almost a seamless manner as part of the same discussion. And everyone gets the visibility to see everything that was discussed on the call, unrelated of how they took notes. All of it is very simply transcribed and summarized for us. So that's one example of how we use that as an insight from a technical perspective back when we had just the technical account manager on the call. But it's also on a wider angle. We need to know who from the customer side was on the call. How good are we interacting or how well are we interacting with executives on the customer side? What's their sentiment? Are they excited when we were holding a QBR, a quarterly business review with the customer? Are they excited? Are they angry? What parts of the conversation worked well? What parts of the conversation didn't work well? So we're building that into our feedback loop and getting the insights into what works and improving based on that. In the end, we are in a process of continuous improvement, and those are the kind of insights that we use.
I appreciate you sharing the details. That is a good, I think, blend of having a versatile technology that can work with other technologies you mentioned, right? Sometimes you're actually joining some of the calls that the customer is hosting. So being able to take that recording, moving into a CI versus being relegated to an incumbent system, it's going to allow you that flexibility. And, for us, it's about customer choice. And it sounds like with Armis, you also take that same approach. Liron, when you think about now overall customer experience, you provide a really good detailed use case when it comes to technical account managers. How, when it comes to, so you provided a really good example when it comes to technical account management and how they're using the insights from call recordings to really identify how to best serve the customer. When you think about other team members and the overall customer experience, what are ways that you see Aviso helping just identify the visibility and pain points and then being able to address them effectively, not just only with TAMs, but other roles as well?
So right now, that's a great question, Kevin. And right now, for example, we have several roles involved in customer experience domain with the customer. I already mentioned support and the technical account managers. We also have customer engagement managers. Our customer engagement managers are basically the product manager for the customer. We're looking at it from Armis perspective. It's our job to make sure the customer is successful. And as we all know, in the end, project management is a crucial part in the customer being successful. So in order to do that, our customer engagement managers are collaborating around the call, around the recording, around the insight with the TAM and making sure that we understand what are the key topics that were discussed, what commitments were made with the customer, either by the TAM, by the sales rep, by the sales engineer, or whoever was on the call from our perspective, either on a day-to-day or an ad hoc meeting. If there was a leadership meeting where the execs, myself, or one of the regional leads for our organization had a discussion with the customer, it is all in one place. All of the discussions, all of the action items, all of the notes which were discussed during the meeting is where we collaborate end-to-end from the deal, as our sales team is using Aviso as well, but also afterwards with the customer engagement manager, executives, product, and support, all of them have the same visibility. So it's really a crucial hub of information to how the customer interaction is going, and customer interaction is crucial for customer success.
I think it's really well said. And you're hit on a couple of valuable points, right? Just being able to have everything in one place is going to help streamline the efficiency. I know with solutions like Gong, for example, you can't attach it to each of the deals. You're limited by only attaching it to the meetings, which only adds to, some of the swivel chair issue that we know happens within organizations. I was going to ask, Liron, when you think about key metrics for customer success, retention rates, are you seeing improved metrics since the use of Aviso?
So we've recently implemented a new health score for our clients, and those health scores are divided into 5 pillars, covering deployment, covering experience. One of the things that it covers actually is sentiment. And one of the things that we've said is that we're now able to measure using Aviso the sentiment of the customer. In customer success, there is always the ongoing meeting, one meeting to the next. It's always a weekly call or even a bi-weekly call. So we are able to now measure the sentiment and see and learn from it, either it's on QBRs and others, who is engaged. We are also measuring our champions in customer environment. Who is engaged? Are we talking to the right champions? Are they excited? Are they not excited? All of that is actually now being revamped into our new health score system, which leverages exactly this information from Aviso. Not just that, but one of the things that we've started to implement just a few weeks ago, again with the Aviso team help, we're now looking for specific keywords and specific features and parts of our product and measuring this customer sentiment around those. So, for example, we have a set of integrations, a set of features that we deployed. We're now being able to give a score per feature during the interactions. Is the customer excited from this feature, or is the customer not excited or actually furious about that? Just recently, we've reviewed roughly 800 calls. We've done the analysis of all of those calls and we're able to extract what are the positive keywords, what are the negative keywords, and building that into, first of all, playbooks, understanding and enabling our teams what can be done and how to respond to those things, and even highlighting gaps in the product, because if the same issues keeps rising across all of our customers, 800 different calls, several key topics were raised again and again, this is something that even if we think the feature is awesome and the best there is always something to learn, always something to improve, because we learn the customer sentiment around that. And we're actually now expanding on this feature, and we're adding more and more keywords and more features to be able to extract and learn the customer sentiment around. Again, the cross calls view, the multi-meeting view is something that Aviso gives us the insight into.
Liron, I got to ask, can you share maybe one of your favorite examples of uncovering something that you just would not have normally come across? Or what's a favorite story you have from some of those 800 calls?
So I think actually one of the things that I like the most is actually more of an internal discussion. And this is another thing that we use. When I go on a call with a customer and the technical account manager or the customer engagement manager is there, I change the dynamics. I respond differently to customer questions. The TAM responds differently. And it's much harder to build a consistent story of enablement around those kind of things. One thing that we saw was a repeat question around some quality concerns, that we saw how different TAMs are answering those questions. And if we were on the call as leadership or as subject matter experts, we would probably miss the exact details of what was answered. But by the fact that we are able to look at multiple calls, see common patterns, common responses, which are not necessarily perceived well by the customer, we're able to tailor enablement exactly around those topics, around this kind of response works better than the other, and enable our entire team across that. So I think understanding your repeat question as part of the deployment that our team encountered, and understanding the gap between what we saw as a good response versus what our boots on the ground, the TAMs, actually responded, this is an insight that Aviso gives us without needing to be in the call and changing the dynamics.
What were you guys using before the Aviso CI solution?
So before Aviso, we just used call recording. We haven't used an AI-based solution like the Aviso CI. We used call recording. We used renewal note-taking, mostly in Zoom. We actually had a huge blind spot as it comes to customer-hosted meetings. A lot of times, especially in previous lives, as well as previous companies, we were always the ones sending the invite. And here in customer success and in customer and technical account management, in the end, it's a working session with the customers. Most customers prefer to use their own Zoom environment, their own Teams environment. So they're unable to provide us the recordings unless we explicitly ask. It's always a complex ask. Can you send me the recording of the call we've done last week? This is not something that streamlines the conversation. So we had a huge blind spot that the Aviso the CI technology really helped us to uncover it and handle it in a much better sense. Roughly 80% of our calls are based on not on our own Zoom environment.
And I can imagine, even just as a highly conscious security company, those are one of the practices you want to also ensure. Can you speak to maybe the strength of having a single platform and any security concerns it actually helps alleviate when it comes to call recording? Because as you mentioned, right, when it comes to talking to customers, everyone having a different call recording solution, there are better ways to do it versus others.
Yes, 100%. And that's actually one of the reasons that our customers usually prefer to use their own. They have better regulation, better compliance metrics around who is invited to the call, who is not invited to the call. And every customer, especially our biggest customers, which are more conscious toward their security posture, have their own technology stack, what they validated, that what works for them, and that's why they're using that. So by using a tool like Aviso, which can actually overlay each and every customer choice, we are helping the customer fit their own security posture and not introducing new risks to their environment by forcing them to use ours. So this is definitely something that is completely in line with what are the best practices and what good looks like. We need to own the environment, and Zoom or Teams or other conferencing software used is definitely takes significant part in this.
I think particularly with as many technologies trying to learn and train data as possible today, right? Whether Zoom or otherwise, you always want to rely on the companies who are ensuring these tighter procedures, tighter policies, not just from an auditing standpoint, but when you talk to them, you sort of feel it, you see the way that they operate. You could generally know who's most conscious about your data. And it feels like with the strategies and really the policies you've put in place for the team, Armis is always going to ensure that they do that. I want to ask a couple more questions, Liron, then we'll wrap up. So how about best practices and advice for anyone either considering switching to a call recording solution, just in general, like what would you look for given your experience, both, kind of using traditional tools that did more summary and transcription versus an AI-powered tool like Aviso?
So I think the key topic for AI-powered solution is the ability to summarize data. In the end, we had transcript capabilities. It is a huge amount of information that no one has the ability to review each and every sentence, each and every part of it, especially if you need to extract the gist of the conversation. What was that about? What are the key topics? What are the action items? Take it and move forward. In some cases, troubleshooting sessions back from the technical account management side. Sometimes it's a whole hour of conversation of trying different options, what works, what doesn't work. And to transcribe all of that and make it into actionable insights is something that is very problematic. So the unique tool of all of our, especially Aviso AI capabilities around that, is to take this and summarize that into a very structured way, as well as pulling out the keywords and key tags which are of relevance and make an impact for the next step. So this is, as it comes to the difference between AI and the power that it gives us to summarize it all into 3 bullet points instead of needing to go through an hour of transcribed text. This is a life changer in our day-to-day work.
Liron, tell us a little bit about your experience with generative AI. It's 2023, and I would be a bad podcast host if I didn't ask. Now, there's a couple ways. I'd love to hear your general thoughts on that, and then any early impressions you have on our AI Chief of Staff, Mickey, we'd also appreciate.
Cool. No, listen, I'm a fan. And as it comes to AI, I'm a fan. Also, as a non-native English speaker, one of the things that really helped me, especially coming from a different culture, coming from a different environment, when I need to formulate a response to a customer or even internally in a way that I need to make sure is clear, is concise, and is well articulated, generative AI for me is like a second notebook that I use. So this is for sure something that helps the communication across the board. The other thing that I use generative AI for is it's great sounding board. Even in the preparation for a specific board meeting or a specific executive discussion, if I want to pitch an idea, I do several back and forths with generative AI software and get the ideas crystallized and get it much clearer. I actually used in quite a few of the documents that I used that I wrote recently about our policy, about our processes and structures, even asking, okay, we understand this is the 3-page document, but now let's summarize that to 5 bullet points for the entire team to read, which is TLDR in most cases. This is something that I can understand if it is extracted, and this is basically part of my iterations process for every new document or written communication these days.
It's designed to be like a chief of staff, right? And a good chief of staff could help you scale your efforts, could help take you maybe doing 1 or 2 things once or twice and making sure you don't have to do it 100 times and being able to do it in a way that delivers value to the end user, right? And in that case, that's you, the individual. Liron, really appreciate everything you shared. You hit on so many use cases. It's probably going to require me to watch this 3 times. I think I'll probably give it a 4th time. But I just wanted to thank you for joining us on the Decoders, and congratulations again on the continued success of Armis and all the things you're doing to help elevate the team when it comes to customer experience.
Thank you very much, Kevin. It was a pleasure.